And while we waiting for the session to start for 5 minutes, I would like to invite Assistant Professor Serena Sermcheep to give us a reflection of yesterday.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the Third Bay of Bengal Economic Dialogue 2024. On the first day, speaker and participant, we engaged in the deliberation that cover a wide range of topics related to BIMSTEC collaboration, from the New World Order and global challenge, trade, investment, and connectivity, governance, and also, last but not least, people to people. The reflection from yesterday's session is as follows. In session one, we discussed a lot about the situation right now, the new world order, and we want to see how BIMSTEC gonna move together into the future. Five main points we can summarize from the talk yesterday. First, connectivity in our dimension, ranging from physical services and also digital dimension. Second, free trade is not only about liberalization, but also facilitation that does matter. The third one also think about financing because we have to invest in many infrastructure. And the fourth one, political will also the main driving force. And last but not least, also how can we develop and move together with the secretariat itself. On session two about trade and investment, many issues has been discussed, and the focus is also on to the trade facilitation because the tariff is kind of like free trade to 0% right now, many of them, and we not want to move forward. Digital trade is also another dimension that can be added on to enhance intra-regional trade. In order to do that, digital connectivity, infrastructure, skill, and also the regulation need to be improved. Also, there are some techniques that we see how can we estimate what's going to come next if we have free trade together. And last but not least, role of the private sector. In the third session about the governance, so we talk about role of the state and how can we use the data to be the information that the grouping or the framework can move forward together. And the last session about the people to people. We have to think beyond state to state. People is the key for moving, ranking from policymaker level, businessman, also the people to people. And we have to think also as well how to think about community. How can we move forward together? So that is a wrap up for reflection from yesterday, and we will continue our discussion today. Thank you very much.
So the time is for the chair and the special remarks.
Thank you, and very good morning to you. I think as Sunak just briefly presented yesterday's discussion, yesterday was very important discussion, and we indulge in, although there were time limitations for Q&A, but I think there has been a great deal of fruitful discussion. What are we going to do with the integration in Bay of Bengal? Yesterday also we spoke not only trade integration, but also integration among especially people-to-people contacts. How do we take the integration message to the rest of the member states and possible expansion as well. Today we have Professor Suchipan, who has been associated with economic integration in this region for, I think, few decades now. And he has been working tirelessly on the Bay of Bengal, ASEAN, and he has written many articles and books, co-authored with our good friend Prabir Dey and others about the importance and how we could deepen the regional cooperation and integration in the region. What I will do, I will make some remarks using the prerogative of the chair at the end of the special remarks, which will be made by Professor Suchipan. And then I think it is important, Professor, we keep time, because yesterday we had some difficulties in managing the time. So basically, although the 45 minutes are there allocated for you to make remarks, I think if you can make it by 35 minutes or so, so that will give us, give me to say certain things. Some of the things that I would like to reflect yesterday's discussion as well. With this, floor is yours, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, colleagues, friends, distinguished participants, let me start by saying Sawasdee Krab, a very good morning to you all. I think it's usually when I attend the meetings in South Asia, it's a bit earlier.
Yes.
So I think it's as people coming on and it's heating up. We end up a very good discussion as we had yesterday together with reception and dinner. So I hope you enjoy your stay for those friends who came from South Asia. Yes, of course, I think is my special thanks first to the co-organizers for inviting me to give this special lecture on the morning of the second day. As you all know, we have a real rich discussion yesterday, as Chair Sumit mentioned a moment ago. So I hope I can do the justice for being the starting point for this morning lecture. Very often, I think is well, Ambassador Sumit, if you remember, perhaps when we had very first meeting is about the BIMSTEC 10-year anniversary back then. And not counting year now, we are on the 27 years of BIMSTEC. And in between, I think it's during the COVID 2022, we had a meeting on the Asian century online. You probably remember a kind of the training and also a meeting to talk about the Asian century in a post-COVID world, what would happen to all of us. So that's was the last time. And of course, BIMSTEC is not new to me. Before the COVID start, I was in Kolkata to attend. We have Ambassador Kisan, who used to post in India. I have not time to see him in Delhi. But again, there's a rich discussion on reimagining BIMSTEC in Kolkata that year 2019, and just the start of COVID, another BIMSTEC conference in 2020 in Pondicherry, organized both by ORF. So that's how I came to think about today. What could I provide the best I can about the BIMSTEC as a topic suggests, breaking barriers and way ahead. The topic, in fact, had been given to me by my dear friend, Professor Babir, who's not yet here, but he will come in a minute. He's already there, okay. So whom we worked together for years. And I think is with that kind of the topic we discussed how I'm going to do, because it's not that easy after we had the discussion. So I said, well, perhaps a set of PowerPoint will help me, with my gray hair by some of them, to not to lose sight of my presentation. So I, with the help of my assistant, Kuntitiya, so I came to this. So here I am to start with my presentation. Okay, so yeah, okay, yeah. Here I put in the structure of my my presentation. We start with introduction and go to conclusion. So between section 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be the substance of my talk. I think very much to start with, I think it's we've been discussing yesterday about the new world order. My thing is to characterize the new order, not yet. So I would say we are, I put it, BIMSTEC in the disorder world. So that's a real changing context. I think I need to say at this moment. Of course, sorry. I move back. Let me start by the introduction. Again, we're talking about the 7 countries in the region of nearly 1 in 4 people on Earth, the Bay of Bengal. And very important is strategically related to Asia, turbulent past and rising future, and very much we commonly shaped by history of culture, monsoon we just had. Now is a big thing, and migration is a big feature of our region. So this is all shaping the kind of our region. That's climate change. Everything we pale, right, to the climate risk this day, as well as our region, and we're still looking for openness, digital for transformation, and all sort of connectivity as we're talking here. So how BIMSTEC going to animate this the base economy and society in the future? That's I give the start with the question. So we know well the map of. No one said. Someone said there's not seeing yet the map in this meeting. So here the map, so you can see. Now I start with the second part of BIMSTEC disorder world. Very important to start with, I think, is since the return in force of great power rivalry back to U.S. China, it was Graham Allison called the Thucydides trap. I think increasingly put in danger this year with the U.S. Presidential election by the end of the year, and some say this is maybe the next to the most consequential leader if Trump coming through. And you think about as well change in China, how China will respond or that, and in between we have a shifting global regional dynamics at different level. Before the COVID, we know that's a lot also already a lot of things we could talk about it. Now post COVID with wars in Ukraine and in Gaza, all that. So this is I will use the word like from my colleague Professor Ajaya, multiplex world that emerging with deeper systemic change. We need to observe and understanding. So this is very important for BIMSTEC. And in between, the global economic paradigm is under pressure. Clearly, we're talking here, we try to make it about the economic dialogue of BIMSTEC. So new narratives, we start to get used to it the past few years. De-risking, decoupling from China because of the US is the leader, and try to bring that kind of thinking to all of us. And but it's also happening on the ground, reconfiguration, production away from China, a bit trade tension with the US, companies, both foreign and Chinese, rebalance the operation in order to enhance the supply resilience and avoiding to only one single market. So that's kind of that's landscape changing, start to be clearly more even post COVID lockdown. And the companies for the region, I think they try to find the alternative for host ASEAN have at least gaining that. India also gaining that, and some region, some country of region will benefit from that. You know that if you look at the foreign direct investment, which is a good indicator, it's quite keep increasing in ASEAN. So they're talking about this ASEAN of 230 billion in 2023, which is much more before the COVID. I said about in the tech sector, this is one of the things, and also go to the car EV. Be talking perhaps the tech sector is they're looking for perhaps a feature of decoupling. While car EV you cannot do it because there's so many parts and assembly, so you have to reconfigure production, that kind of thing. So there are different variety for different kind of industry when we're talking about the moving from China in particular. That's mean also the world, I would say the old framework for economic growth and collaboration based on globalization will not be sufficient. Someone said if it been outdated with the retreat of globalization. So because of that deep divide among major powers to continue at even worse. So on one side you see the G7, G20, which is hosted last year in India, no longer the principal forum for global solution with the WTO, IMF, and even World Bank losing large and bigger of multilateralism. And on the other hand, you have the BRIC forum pushed by China, gain traction from the so-called global South as an alternative world order. So all these have the clear evidence of the new regional alliance and alignment increasing important up to the point, the Kristalina Georgieva, the IMF managing director, she gave an interview by saying, I think this is quite a catchy word, globalization didn't work for everybody. So we better off protecting of integration that works for everybody. So that's perhaps the message of, I think it's quite a message for region of the world that including our BIMSTEC. Now I move to the next section, ASEAN experience. I think this is a request of Babir, and perhaps as the chair mentioned that I worked for years, so perhaps colleagues from South Asia, we could put some understand what ASEAN have done with regard to this. I think very important to say about the achievement also, what ASEAN has done. Comparatively speaking, we stand out in Asia as a relative peace and a peaceful region. There are no cross-border conflict since our founding, and no nuclear weapons. We have the TAC, the so-called Treaty on Treaty and Cooperation, and that's involved now the external partner of more than that who signed more than 50 countries who signed to our ASEAN. So this is a free zone, as that of peace, freedom, and neutrality. So this is a great achievement. And more lately, we're talking about more our integration of community building already, moving much beyond the FTA with our ASEAN Charter, We're talking about the ASEAN Charter and BIMSTEC Charter just also put on the run. So this is marking well about the institutional-led versus market-led. You have to go hand in hand. You cannot one by missing the other. So we also exercise the deepening from within and widening with partners from outside and engaging powers of the world. This is very much the word about the ASEAN centrality in regional security economic architecture. I have here also the ARF, East Asia Summit, all recent RCEP conclusion or AOIP that ASEAN has been involved in. So this is perhaps a possible inspiration, a lesson for others. Be talking. Why we talking now this day about fragmentation? So we still need the integration and connectivity and all entrepreneurship, resilience, and sustainability. But of course, ASEAN not perfect for everything regional. I read the so-called charter, and there are two. This is a principle also of decision by consensus, one thing, and non-interference. This is the two. The principle at least appear also in the similar to as this, but not always. I mean that the case of Myanmar is here from Rohingya crisis to the latest coup, 3 years now, not the latest. So there are some still dysfunctionalities, that apply to ASEAN. We're not perfect, and if you think about the more transnational, not transactional, transnational threats in so many areas, from environmental degradation. We're talking about the haze problem, that's how to take care of the pandemic, the piracy, terrorism, drug trafficking, people smuggling, natural disaster. Remember the late Dr. Surin Pitsuwan, when he became the Secretary General, and Myanmar happened to struck with the Nagis cyclone, and he said, "Well, that's very difficult how to have the humanitarian, the first help, very necessary for the first few years before he been able to get agreement." So that kind of thing. I mean, it's when you have such a necessity, you have no time. You need to do it the right way. So that's something that we need to put beware. It's something that never happened, but when it happened, it's quite strong. And the community building, the attention from within is sometimes been neglected because we involve so many things outside. Although we have the achievement this year, we're talking about the achievement of the 3 pillars before we move next, and increasing superpower U.S.-China competition and conflict are complex. And our language, we would say we don't want to choose sides. And this is quite a not easy exercise, and we forming alliance with other strategic partners. So the ASEAN way to advance the ASEAN centrality, and if not talking about the ASEAN unity to make our institution work. So the ASEAN as a model for region building. I think we identify work to bolster the intra-ASEAN unity from within. I must say power from within, different from hard and soft power. We were talking about it, and in the renewing of the great power competition and conflicts. I think there's is very practical work that ASEAN done for our region building. The very high profile. We're talking about the AI meeting, Shangri-La dialogue. That's something very important. So ASEAN in between in the driver's seat, sometimes we're talking about it, not to taking side model for region building. So ASEAN abroad is, I don't say it's not transparent. Elsewhere, also we have to learn and see how it could be applied in our root world, very risky, unpredictable, dangerous, and exciting world. About the economic long history of work and in progress, I think is here I need to say about the we put long time before also given, but the groundwork been there. If you think about it before coming into the signing of the stamp out the FTA in 1992, and we start in 93, and then expanding, of course, after to Asian financial crisis. But before that, we are like South Asia, no different. You know, there's all protecting country, import substitution. Only if you think about the 70, or the our student or even the graduate, we were talking about the commodity export, the stabilization, if our export for rice, for cassava, for the product we had. The rest is transform industry, maybe, you know, that support the domestic industry, some kind of services. So no export manufacturing. Then the 80, I think that's important, that we start the export promotion. And fortunately, I think it because of the Plaza Accord from the mid 1980s. So that created a real momentum for ASEAN industrialization. I observe, because I already graduated, you know, so looking at, you know, that we start to moving very fast to manufacturing for export or export-led industrialization from the mid 80s to the 90s before we start the FTA. So that's been the important background to remember that why our manufacturing become even more than the agriculture export. Or so that's the beginning of 90s, so clear. That's how we start the FTA. And then, of course, now we took another 25 years, of course, to start the ASEAN Economic Community or other community building as well. And we cannot forget the ASEAN connectivity, very important from all three aspects, you know, from hard connectivity, soft connectivity, and people-to-people connectivity. So that's an ASEAN language of community from the summit we had also here in Thailand at Chaam Wohin in 2009, 2010 onward. So that's how we struck the ASEAN community first master plan. Before now, we have the second one. Along the way, there's very much a give and take. You know, that's UNESCO, but rather important to pooling resource among the members is most important than thinking purely in terms of sharing market as a key to regional integration. So we talking is we need to make a work in progress. That's also another one in a consensual way to move our ASEAN. We not only ASEAN FTA, we have also, of course, a bilateral FTA. You're looking at the Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. This is the three most who have the more than 20, 30 FTA, bilateral, sub-regional, and all that, you know. So the steady move, I think, is important to have it in regional cooperation integration. This one is studied by in fact, one of our colleagues, the SCAP, Dr. Mia, a few years back, and we had a conference just before the COVID. It showed very well when you're talking yesterday. One figure come up about the 24, 25, right? When you look at the Southeast Asia 24, 25, that's the intra-ASEAN, trade before we moving after a year. But you do not forget the other one, which is another 31 here, would be 31.8%. This is with our Northeast Asia. That's as I talking about it, it's very important to get the open regionalism. So that's because ASEAN is first and for all intra. ASEAN is all countries developing country. So you cannot have the 60-70% like the EU, like developed country. You need to move from somewhere. So that's why we use that now single market, and we have to have the production base for firm to moving in. And this is we work closely with Northeast Asia. That's a heavy bit of Asia. You think about the ASEAN now, GDP is 3.5 trillion. Have you added another 21, 22, or more 20, 24, 25? So something like 7 times our of the economic weight in Northeast Asia. So that's how you need to work with them. And the rest of the world, of course. With South Asia, that's why it's little. Here it shows 5. Someone said now 6, 7. So that's how ASEAN work little still with South Asia. I think this very important figure to remind, perhaps could serve later for the discussion. So now I move very quickly to the 4th and 5th part. I don't know how much time I have left. I think is we reached the moment of moving BIMSTEC. Everyone agree, and with the renewed interest of the Bay as part of the the Indo-Pacific, whatever the grouping we try to talk about it. But here is the closing grouping. Here we are all and we need to pay attention to changes. So BIMSTEC stands point at the crossroads of strategic importance and evidently untapped economic potential of our risk. And here is a new round of global fragmentation, or reconfiguration of global supply chain away from, the China to the region. Not only ASEAN, India, we've seen also happen in Bangladesh and other parts of South Asia. So this is a good time to make the breaking barrier, if that will be the topic from Rabia. And I think there already some groundwork been done. That we advance the summit every 2 years. We have a new charter in force from just less than 2 months ago. And we have the summit this year in Bangkok, September. We endorse the EPG version. I have not seen. You might have seen. So I hope this is a step to foster and deepen regional integration and cooperation. So say, of course, gaps remain among the members, among regions, sub-regions. I think this is important to have, of course, the thought about this strategic and holistic toward our interconnectedness, and development partners help in terms of what you call what we need, not in terms of you call the whole country of Japan. You said, well, you look maybe, but that perhaps there will be some Japanese agenda, right? So we ask the Japanese to do connectivity. We ask ADB to do these 2 reports. I found interesting. No time to read, but that's why I prepared this. That trade facilitation, the whole report, December 22. So this is something very important. Transport connectivity to support our what do you call master plan for connectivity. And someone said, well, we need to pledge the so-called the very important the number. Oh, sorry. I will be very brief. We discussed very much already. We have a colleague, Constantino, in the room, help. And I read it. I agree very much that we better start. Everyone agree. This is a study we done before the COVID about the how we could have even the limit FTA with rural origin simplify and strengthen. Very important, and we have to have the target for non-tariff barriers on mutual recognition, national standards on both goods and services, harmonization and development of a common standard, and identification, of course, the area we like to explore with regard to value chain across the region, and investment in the infrastructure, very important. That's the work done by Prabir, and of course the support fund for also the entrepreneurial project, particularly the SME. And this one I will pass about the BIMSTEC master plan for connectivity. But just to say that the issue of connectivity very important, have to take also at the center stage to support the trade integration. If that would be the feature we like to move. This is already I already addressed in early on about the increase in trade fragmentation. So this is also a serious thought. Perhaps we not addressed yet, but I don't think we have time about, because it could last long this round. So that kind of that trade fragmentation to benefit our integration if we would like to do that exercise. One of the survey by the data survey by the Price Waterhouse of the 1,000 entrepreneurs in the region, and the business leaders now they look to hear this about the. We already talked about the supply chain disruption during the COVID, but here we're talking of in terms of supply chain de-risking, decoupling as well, in the dimension of the great power rivalries moving from China to be exact. And they said, well, better to rebalance now. That they whatever they do in only one single market or one thing to other, it will be a better long-term benefit. So that's kind of quite important over the 3/4 of the entrepreneur. They think that way. So I think to put on that. So we're ahead of BIMSTEC. As we talk about our meetings 2 years ago, I think it's still valid to talk in terms of emerging Asia, because this is the future. That thing happened very much in the emerging Asia the past 3-4 decades, and we need to looking at the greater. We talking in terms of greater economic convergence because of this emerging Asia, but not for not all countries being benefited. That's why we need to look carefully how to involve everyone. And at the same time, I think it's our population experience very much, that relatively stability, peace, the rise of middle class and entrepreneurship. And this is a real changing new dynamics if we're talking in terms of rural-urban development. I could show quickly. You can see clearly. One thing is talking about the urban and rural, how number of people living is already the case of 2000 that we seen more people living in the city area, metropolitan area, more than the rural. And it's go on to our overall region of East Asia and Pacific, but not yet in South Asia, of course. Still more is upcoming. You see the rise, and rural is stabilized. You look at India, which is a big chunk of that part. And you look in the Bangladesh, also the rising, catching quickly. Thailand, part of it has already passed in the past few years. Before COVID, we have more urban population. Sri Lanka, not yet. Myanmar, not yet. But overall, the ASEAN, if you look at it, or they're missing one picture, but not clear here. I think it's I will move very quickly. This is the challenges for us. If you look at this slide in ASEAN, I taking this mapping from Fortune 500 in our ASEAN. You see this without our 30, 40 years of work, from import substitution to export promotion to all kind of the liberalization, deregulation, FTA and all that. So we come to this point to show this is a big firm, that concentrate in the urban areas of ASEAN. So you see the top 500, the Indonesia to Thailand. Thailand is the second largest economy still. So we have quite a big number of firms. And in terms of the aggregate revenue, Singapore is because of the big size that include multinational headquarters, all that. And Singapore is still the most profitable because of that big firm. So you see in that rank, it's quite important to come to this point. I don't know if you do similar thing in South Asia, maybe perhaps you have India, they have the Bangladesh, not yet other parts. So, but I must say that I not say that Bhutan should have this. I not say that because of that we were seeing this, there are no Brunei, right? So this is something we need to think about it. But then, again, I think it's that's why I offer here for food for thought for what would be the new open regionalism for BIMSTEC. And I think this is that you're talking about political will. While preparing this, that I said first also about the strong leadership and commitment to APEC deliverables. That's some of the low-hanging fruit, whatever the progress we could do, and making the Bangkok vision, a reality in line with the purpose and principle of the BIMSTEC Charter. There are 7 sectors. I'm not learning much because this is coming from the Colombo meeting in 2022. I heard before there are 14 sectors. Now you have the 7 sectors, and I heard from yesterday this is some of the very important and responsible by each country. You need to look at that. So clear advocacy to new open tourism as a way forward in recognition of the Bay history and culture as much as people environment that transcend national frontier. We still, the nationalism we're talking about, but about the regional cooperation. This is the phase we need to move in next. In conclusion, great potential for sure, but we have to take seriously. And I said that here we talk about economic dialogue. We have to stamp out. We already had it, but when to start? Ganesh said next year you have to start. If not next year, you have another year. So we need to pushing our political masters for that, and then also the kind of what do you call the from the policy divergence to policy convergence, connectivity and all that, And very important to finish is about the timing for revitalizing the BIMSTEC that fit, of course, our interest. And very important that BIMSTEC is first of all intergovernmental organization. We have to make institution readiness. We're talking about very few money, right? Only over 1 million US dollar in terms of the expense. We could increase the technical parts, the professional staff at the BIMSTEC in Dhaka. That would be best, and making BIMSTEC a real work in progress that corresponding to what ASEAN Charter for a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable future. So I think this is the end of my talk, and I hope it's a new beginning,
Yes.
a new chapter, a real chapter for BIMSTEC. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Suchpan. I think you did the justice today. In fact, you brought certain new elements into the discourse. You started your presentation, BIMSTEC in a disordered world. Indeed, not only BIMSTEC, but I think entire world is in a disordered way. I was the developments that are taking place rest of the world, rise of nationalism, seemingly tilting towards left left ideology, which I don't give any credibility what is happening in France, but it is very, very, very serious thing. In fact, if you have gone through the Supreme Court verdict 6-3, Trump versus United States, I read there were 3 separate dissenting judgments, and it seems to me that are they talking about the presidential dictatorship? So that's very serious. Now, these are certain things which will have direct bearing on the political economy of regional integration, because protectionism is coming up, and there is another sense which is prevailing many quarters in the world, especially among the political economists, is capitalism into crisis. Indeed, where are we going? So these are problems, in fact. Then you also mentioned about Russia-Ukraine war, then turmoil in the Middle East. Most importantly, what we need to focus is rise of China and rise of India, which we discussed a few years ago, even Asian century. We cannot deny that rise of China and rise of India. Now, how do we balance that? I think that's an important matter. We should focus, and emergence of the artificial intelligence, the use of artificial intelligence in various sectors. In fact, AI will be a very important tool in integration process. I think it is, if we use judiciously that one. And the other organizations, right? Other organizations like BRICS expanding, Shanghai Cooperation Organizations expanding, security apparatus are expanding, and then on top of that, Chinese BRI, Global Development Index Initiative, Global Civilization Initiative. Now, these are important parameters in deciding in deciding the to what extent we can go for even open regionalism within the Bay of Bengal. You are right. In fact, we need to learn from civilization process, which we spoke yesterday, especially very articulately put forward by our good friend Surat. You mentioned about, you make some reference to Christina Georgieva, IMF Managing Director, and she delivered a lecture 14th March 2024, this year, King's College, Cambridge. She made a reference to the article written by John Maynard Keynes, 1930. The title of that was Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren. And she was recalling that during her speech. I would like to end this discourse and the discussion. How do we see economic possibilities for our grandchildren in the Bay of Bengal? There lies the success of regional integration and regional cooperation. Taking all the turmoil around us, I think still we can manage if we can balance the rise of India, rise of China, and rise of other economies in the region. I think we need to seriously think the open regionalism, how it will work in a balance, in a fine combination. FTA, of course, in 2010, there was a big discussion yesterday about FTA. We had the opportunity to conclude FTA in 2010. Yes. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka didn't agree. That was the yes. This is the problem. So with that, please join with me in thanking Professor Stepan for his excellent presentation. We may disagree on certain things, but we agree to disagree. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the chair and the special remarks on the way forward. Now we can see the way how we can get together and make Bengal more sustainable in the near future. Thank you very much.